Hi guys, Josh here. Hope everyone's keeping well. I know it's a really challenging time, but do not worry because here at JWPT Personal Training, we are doing everything we can to keep you up, active, and motivated. Part of that offer is some online content, and today I'm going to talk to you about a nutrition principle that I use all the time with my PT clients, as well as what I use day to day with in my nutritionist role. Basically, this principle breaks up energy balance or fueling for performance to understand it in a nice, clear, obvious, and objective manner. Now, with energy balance or fueling, whatever you want to call it, it's a basic principle of what goes in versus what goes out. And your goals can adjust either way depending on what it is that you're looking to achieve. The way in which I break this down for loads of my clients is in a threefold manner. So you've got one, this is going to be your low day or your maintenance day. Number two, this is going to be your kind of moderate day. And number three, this is going to be your high intensity, your fueling for performance day. So let's take a look at the first one of those, number one. Key thing to remember as I'm going through all of these principles is that they are built on solid foundations of good quality nutrition. That's good quality carbohydrates, that's good quality protein, good quality healthy fats within your diet, fruits and vegetables, and of course your fluid intake. So day number one, this is going to be a typical day for us when we're in a low phase. So that might be where we're on an active recovery day, or it might be a day where you've been stuck in the office a little bit longer than you've liked, or you've not had an opportunity to necessarily train at an intensity you'd like to. With this particular day, we're going to approach it with a lower carbohydrate intake, i.e. we're going with less fuel because we've got a much lower output. The way in which I'd look at approaching this particular day is to make sure that your diet is around a half of protein, around a half of fruit and vegetables. You're going to have a decent portion of a healthy fat in there as well, so you might snack on some nuts or some seeds, something like that. And of course you're going to have your fluids within there. Now you'll notice I've not talked about those obvious source of carbohydrates, so I haven't talked about rice, pasta, bread, whatever it might well be. Reason being, when we talk about your fueling, we don't necessarily on this low day need as much carbohydrate because your energy output is much lower. But do remember that from lots of your fruits and vegetables, you're still going to get a decent amount of carbs. Talking a banana, for example, you're going to be looking at around 60 grams of carbohydrate. That's still a decent amount and is still going to provide you with the energy you need for this low day. So we move on to approach number two. This is your moderate day, and it's going to be one where you're probably training, maybe not to super high intensity levels, but you're maybe down doing a boot camp, a cave session, you're on a training run, a cycle, whatever it might well be. With this particular day, you're going to look at increasing that carbohydrate a little bit more. So what we're going to be aiming to doing is looking at around a third of your daily intake coming from carbohydrates, around a third from your proteins, and around a third from your fruits and vegetables. We're again going to have that small amount of healthy fats within there, so we might look at again nuts, seeds, whatever it might well be, some avocado, whatever. And we're again going to concentrate on your fluid intake and making sure that you're staying adequately hydrated. The key difference here, however, is that our energy output has increased that little bit, so we need to match that with some carbohydrate intake. So we might introduce some more obvious sources of carbohydrates, some quinoa, some rice, whatever it might well be. That's approach number two. Before I go into approach number three, what I want to make sure is that we're not making the obvious mistake that I see a lot of the time, and that's where people overestimate or over-egg the amount of kind of energy that they're putting out there. When I'm talking about day number three, this is a hard, high intensity day, okay? It might well be that you're going on a really long run, or it might well be that you're going on a long cycle. Myself, for example, on a Saturday, I'll use day three because I play football, so I'm fueling for a pretty decent kind of workout. With day three, we're going to really fuel and up your carbohydrate intake. This is going to look more closely like around half your daily intake coming from carbs, around a quarter coming from protein, and around a quarter coming from your fruit and vegetable intake. You're going to again have that key source of healthy fats within there, and your fluid intake is certainly going to increase to make sure that you're remaining adequately hydrated. Now, I can't stress to you enough, guys, it's really important that you're super honest with yourself about where your energy outputs are. So for example, I personally would look at classifying, something like a 5 kilometre run, a 10 kilometre run, or something along those lines, as in between that sort of moderate to high. Whereas if I was really going at it, it was really, really high intensity session, maybe you were smashing around a big cardio session down the cave or whatever it might be, that would probably fall up into your kind of day 3 there, or your third approach, if you like. It's really important that you get that right, particularly now where lots and lots of us, unfortunately, given the circumstances, are going to be mainly around those low days. Even when we're doing our home-based workouts, that's going to creep up into the moderate, but it's still not going to be in that we need loads and loads and loads of carbohydrates. Again, just to make things really clear, this is not me saying, oh, low carb is the best approach, or no carb, or keto, or it's got to be high protein, or it's got to be low protein, whatever it might well be. This is simply me saying, choose your fuel for your correct performance. If you're not going to be moving around as much, then we don't need that extra fuel. If you're going to be moving around a lot more when things get back to normal, you're training much harder, then we do need that extra fuel. What I'd really recommend, and something that I do recommend to lots of my clients, is to plan out and plan your meals versus your training schedule. So on a Monday night, for example, we might be doing a hardcore boot camp together, so we'd increase and maybe we'd pick approach 2 or 3. On a Sunday, you might be having a bit more of a lazy day, so maybe you'd look at approach 1 and it might be a low day. I'd really recommend that you plan that out. So not only your meal planning, but plan your exercise in there as well, guys. As always, if you've got any questions, please feel free to hit me or Jake up. We'll add some links to our socials, and I'll also add some links into this video so that you can take a bit more look into the types of performance plates, or the 3 approaches that I've been talking about, and how they translate into day-to-day nutrition. Stay safe, guys. Thank you.